This is the Silt versus role-playing game, A God Must Feed, Part 7. Let's do our recap. We're going to have a slightly abbreviated session today, as it turns out. That's my fault. I apologize. Let's do a recap. You have 2 active assignments right now. The first is the floating market, which the custodians have been told that there's a dangerous black market good, even more dangerous black market good being traded at the floating market right now. You need to figure out which one presents, of the various black market goods, which is the most serious danger to the public, which will then allow you to focus your investigation. You also have the Sleepless Warden. This is one of those like kind of classic ruralish military towns where we have some people who are, well, basically there's this sort of war machine, that a battle saint that was decommissioned and was actually standing as a sort of memorial of a recent conflict, and it has been brought to life. It has been animated, and you need to figure out whether the warden was awakened intentionally or accidentally. It unlocks the next appropriate question. You have 2 clues on that one. You've got 4 clues on the floating market, and that's sort of the basic state of things. I do want to mention the conspiracy as well. You currently have 6 conspiracy clues, well on your way to facing the Institute and the confrontation with them. I do want to point out, though, that Dr. Ishra Caro turned up in the town associated with Sleepless Warden, Welk's Vigil, and has reminded Pele of Pele's obligation, their obligation to inject Theo or another custodian with this solution that he's been given, or they've been given. And also, Dr. Ishra Caro not so subtly intimated that he would love it if Pele would start convincing the locals in Welk's Vigil to do their patriotic duty and submit themselves to scientific experiments for the government. So that is sort of what's going on with the conspiracy in terms of shady activities. Looking at the custodians themselves, Theo always has a bunch of conditions. Sedna has jolly. Jasper Finch has 3 conditions: empty, unsettled, and emotional support gloam. And Pele has 2 under Dr. Caro's thumb and marked by Fitzwilkin. Fitzwilkin, the jerkface descendant of, or Welkin, it's actually Welkin, the jerkface descendant of the original Welkin of Welk's Vigil, who we don't really know what he's getting up to, but he seems like a punk-ass kid. And punk-ass kid who's definitely listening to the Joe Rogan of this universe. Yeah, I know, sad.
Get them while they're young.
And also, can I say, just as an aside, I started Love is Blind 5, and every one of those dudes is like podcast Joe Rogan brain addled. I'm like, holy shit, the state of straight men in America right now.
Where are they filming
Rancid.
this season?
Houston. Houston.
Oh, okay.
So naturally,
Yeah,
right, yeah.
Like, as the token straight person in this group, I can say the straights are not okay.
They're not okay. They're definitely not okay in Houston if they're men. I was like, wow, these guys suck. These guys fucking suck. I feel sorry for all these women. Anyway, all right, setting that aside. Do we have any questions about where things were left? Sedna and Jasper had just kind of come together. Jasper hid the fact that he has a gloam that he's bonded with, and but they were at the floating market. Theo was just arriving in Welk's Vigil. I don't think we saw you do anything yet, Theo. You were just kind of traveling too. And Pele was just reminded by Dr. Ishra Caro of what he wants from you.
Yeah.
Truly have not been able to stop thinking about it and be like, oh, did you find anything? No.
Yeah, I just listened to that. It was really good. You were like, no. It's one of those perfect like player knowledge versus character knowledge moments, you know? Yeah. So that's sort of where things stand in terms of our active assignments. You are going to get a brand new assignment here at the beginning of our session. I need to go find the structure, make sure I'm doing everything in the correct way, because I have not internalized it yet. Mark new end of session questions if you haven't done so, if you wish to. Do we have any moves that are beginning of session moves? Okay, in that case, the new assignment is called the Skyward Sprawl. Very different kind of assignment from what you've been doing so far. The Custodians have been directed by their handlers to quietly resolve a situation in the sprawling fringes of the greater Glottage conurbation. Suburbanites within a growing sphere of influence are sickening, contracting a hideous rot from clouds of gray spores spread on the wind. Their skin erupts in weeping rust and cracked concrete. They become obsessed by ascent, drawn to a towering building erupting like a twisted fingernail from the dead urban soil. Dreams of ease. The Marketeers thought they had done it again. Yet another magnificent high-rise tower shaped from the Slag King's sacred plans and enhanced with cutting-edge induced godcraft. Comfortable living with a hallowed manager to protect and watch over you and your family. A single prisoner was sacrificed to the structure, drowned in concrete as tradition demanded. Strangely, they died in secret without the usual ribbon cutting and photo opportunities. The press release coyly branded the death a patented experiment. Who has the highest insight of you?
I think we're all tied.
You're all tied. In that case, I'm going to pose the question to Sedna. The architect Lucien Baton vanished shortly before the building was completed. What rumors surround his disappearance?
Well, one of the rumors that I've heard was that he was well aware of some fault or issue with this building, and when he tried to bring this thing to the press, to the media, he was in fact forcibly silenced.
That was a decade ago. Residents were rapidly consumed, and the newborn tower saint fed ravenously. Most succumbed to the mysterious concrete rot, and a fanatical few from the privileged upper floors began to worship the tower, calling themselves the Dreamers of Ease. They proclaimed a sacred mission, great and soaring architectural growth without end. A new name was shouted from the balconies, and the Skyward Sprawl was born. I'm going to follow. This gets directed to all the Custodians. How will you call on your deity to shield you from the sprawl's rot once you get there?
Well, Sweet Jolly Crunchtooth is part of Pele's full nutritional breakfast every morning, giving me all of the vitamins and grains and wheats that make me nice and strong, and the milk to make my bones strong as well. So as long as I consume, then I shall be all right.
Who needs the fortifying concrete of the Skyward Sprawl when you can have
Milk.
Beautiful, blessed calcium from milk? Yeah, it's very good.
I'm hesitant to ask my deity for anything or even acknowledge its existence if I don't have to. But if I do have to, and I do have this connection that I can't seem to break, I suppose that I'm hoping that the electrical power, this lightning ability of the Saint Electric, will be able to burn away any unwanted spores or organisms that might try to latch on to me.
Mr. Marrow, Watcher in the Wings, strike this direction from my script. May my words shield me, as I am immune to such tawdry little issues.
We shall see. Theo?
It may not be a good idea for Theo to go to this thing, because it seems like Theo takes upon illnesses that burden others quite easily enough.
There'll be a lot to take on board here, I think.
Yeah. Especially since my issues with Rise Beneath Alone, because this seems similar in nature.
We have 3 questions and opportunity pairs here, all of them different ways of resolving the assignment. The simplest of the questions is, where is the hallowed corpse of the Sprawl's saint interred? Resolve the assignment by destroying or removing the body. The building will then rapidly rot and collapse as soon as the assignment ends. Straightforward. More complex, why is the sprawl growing? Resolve the assignment by using this knowledge to control or prevent the growth. Most complex, how can the schism between the sprawl and the Slag King be healed? Because this is a religious schism going on here in this building. Resolve the assignment by presenting a cogent thesis to a delegation of the Slag King's surveyor priests and the adjudicator's representatives, negotiating a peace. Intriguing indeed. You also have a verse here called the Verse of the Concrete Jungle. I'd also like to point out to you that you have other verses on the assignments too that you have not yet used. The Sleepless Warden verse is called the Verse of the Endless Vigil, and the Floating Markets is the Verse of the Promised Deliverance. So those are also available to you while this mysteries, or assignments rather, are active. And so let's figure out what we're doing. If there are no other questions. Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I was going to say,
Wouldst thou like to answer a question deliciously, everyone? We have a floating market one with 4 clues.
I'm down. I'm game.
Wouldst thou like the taste
Of butter.
of golden grain crunch, or whatever the fuck the cereal is called?
Wouldst thou like the taste of Wheaties?
Indeed, yeah.
For everybody's knowledge, there is a section in the notes on column K that has these cereals that are being created.
Very good. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
answer
down
your
to answer that question.
I mean,
Yeah.
the floating market question, is that what we're thinking?
Yeah.
Since you posed the Wes, do you have a thought? Is that why you spoke up, or
Which illegal product presents the most serious danger to the public? My theory is that the citation for the distribution of unlicensed goods of theologically unstable conditions, better to drown it than me, and the large collection of green writhing glomes, which are mass-produced caterpillar comfort dolls, is in an effort somebody is trying to help appease local tension and anger by essentially giving glomes in a way to relieve stress.
They're
by
eating
drowning
too
them.
much.
They're eating
Oh.
too much, and so drown them to help kind of disperse that. It's a way to kind of take in and then disperse.
Oh, I love the idea, better drown it than me, of like if these two people have like rancorous venom between them, and just hey, just feed your hatred to the gloam, then drown it instead of me. But their appetite is insatiable.
Literally burying the hatchet, but instead you're drowning the gloam.
No, they're not burying the hatchet, they're burrowing the hatchet. That thing is getting in you.
Yeah.
Oh, not gloams again. Oh, jeez.
I like it. I think it's really good. Are there any objections, or
That is 3 clues.
Yeah,
it's a pretty good roll.
Yeah.
+1's not bad.
Yeah, Wes, you should roll.
Okay.
Yeah. I love that we're deciding it's the gloams and I have a gloam.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that
I'm not
the glows
letting
have
it
this
go.
really freaky thing going on with them now.
Yeah. I'm not letting this one go. He's my friend. He's my special little boy, my good time pal.
So that is a 6 + 1 + 1, which is an 8.
1 + 1 + 2 + 1. Sorry.
Correct. It is indeed the most dangerous of the dangerous products found at the floating market. Your next question then is, you have 2 questions that unlock now. The first is, how can the gloams be neutralized? It's a complexity 4. Resolve the assignment by destroying or severing any divine influence from the product so that it no longer poses a threat. I will paste that in during the break. The second is a complexity 6. How can the custodians take advantage of the opportunities the market presents? This is a slightly different approach. Resolve the assignment by negotiating an exclusive arrangement with the product vendor so that they will not endanger the public. The custodians may now return to the floating market during the journey phase to pursue unique opportunities. Each time they do, the keeper narrates a scene showing a vendor or customer of the market, and then we have some little things that happen each time you visit. But basically, it's like a little side thing that you get access to.
Mm.
So that's another interesting. That's complexity 6, a little harder, but the rewards are significant on that. So immunocompromised. Oh my God, stop. It was one of those like really stretch things that's like it doesn't work, but it kind of does work at the same time. So
Yeah.
I can admire that. Barely, but I can. So let's keep going then. So Jasper and Sedna, you were both at the floating market. I will tell you that Mog Squamous had just told you about this like vendor that sells like basically like disposal services for divine stuff, divine matter. And that was something you're made aware of. But otherwise, the market has not quite opened up yet, though we can fast forward to it opening up if that would be more interesting to you. What do you think you want to do?
Well, since I didn't find much, and apparently Finch found nothing, I would like to go and check out this Jones and Co. They're real goods, if they'll let me see them.
Yeah, I think that's great. It's really interesting because it bears the question how might, because at some point you're all going to have to talk about the danger of the gloams, right? And why they should be the focus of the investigation. But the only person who knows about them is Jasper, so it's intriguing. Okay, that sounds good, Sedna. We can fast forward to like when they open up if that would be better, unless you want to like sneak around first.
I'll let it be up to Alex in case he wants Finch to do
Let's
something.
open the market. Let's have a
Mm.
fun time. Come on, let's go antiquing.
What do you want to do, Jasper?
That's a dangerous question. I think Jasper Finch is no longer here. I think once more, he of many faces must come into play to maneuver around. There is no Jasper Finch. There is only Tyrone Beck, a businessman of high repute here to do some shopping along the wharf front.
Very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Okay. So maybe looking at other vendors, I'm into that as Tyrone back. Back over in Welkin's Vigil. Theo, what do you want to do?
Oh, I definitely want to meet up with Pele again because, well, it's been by myself for a little bit, and I really should check in with my common custodians just to make sure that they're doing okay, because that's sort of my role in our little groups. And I want to see like what sort of attitude the locals may have of us, because last time, well, Pele got into a bit of trouble,
Allegedly.
allegedly. There was a body. We can confirm that.
Well, very interesting. Pele, what do you want to do?
I think Theo will find Pele after that tour that Pele did and running into Dr. Ishikaro. Theo will find Pele getting ready to venture into Welkin's Vigil. I think Pele has like gotten to talk to a couple of like the soldiers, the people doing the militia drill, but Pele wants to see how the town like essentially doing like a let's creep along mission, not trying to get the Sentinels' attention, and seeing what the state of the town is like to further assess the situation.
I love it. Why don't we have the scene with Theo and Pele to start, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Oh, there you are, Pele.
Just who I was hoping to see. Theo Solomon. Welcome to Welkin's Vigil.
Yeah. How's things been going around here? And like, it seems a little bit tense around here. Hopefully, nothing too dramatic has happened besides the saint that's been wandering about.
The Iron Cormorant has people on edge. They're running military drills. Militia has been forming. There's a number of people that I've met. Well, just a couple of people that I've met. One very historically inclined officer, and then another one, a bit of a brat, by the name of Fitz, whose family runs the town, Fitz Welkin.
Hmm.
But I've seen a couple of things. I'm preparing to run into not run, but sneak into the city and see if there's anything, the town, and see if there's anything that we can find that stands out. How are you feeling, Theo?
Pretty good. I did resolve that land issue from a while back. In regards where there was a body. However, we did not resolve the body issue at all because we have not talked about it at all.
Why bring up unpleasant things when you can just grow and move on from it?
Legally speaking, we have some sort of flexibility with the laws and deities and whatnot because there's a sort of presumption of unpredictability there, but I still gotta know, why did you do it?
Would you believe me if I told you self-defense?
Sure.
Good. It was self-defense. I was investigating. I was attacked.
Mhm.
And so I brought that gentleman closer to his deity. A very noble death, one might say.
Might be noble, but I think better things can be done. But I understand. Sometimes it's better to get messy in the short term to try to prevent messiness in the long term.
Of course, it is an adjustment for me. Sometimes when you're harvesting and you're reaping the wheat and gathering it, you notice growth of a fungal nature, and that must be dealt with. I do apologize. I do beg your pardon.
But thank you for telling me the truth.
But enough about my ineptitude. I'm worried about you, Theo.
Oh.
You seem a bit weak, haggard.
I mean, thanks. I think.
It's concern that I'm showing, Theo. Last time I saw you, you had taken on some qualities that seemed against policy, one might say. But I did meet a Dr. Ishikaru who works for the Institute. And he and I began talking about our troubles. I even shared with him the manner of which the disposal, not previous transgressions. And he allowed me to take upon something that could potentially help you, myself, as well as Sedna and our dear friend Jasper Finch.
Really?
Pulls out the vial.
Could I see that?
Absolutely. He assured me that it would be something that you might be interested in, something to bring you closer to the Poxmartyr.
Are we sure that's wise?
Haley has like a confused look on their face.
I sort of being close to the Poxmartyr sort of immobilizes me. I take on the illnesses, but there needs to be a sort of a divide between me and my god. Otherwise, I'm literally the embodiment of illness. I cannot get out of bed. But what I'm not sure exactly what this does. It's a liquid, I can see that.
I'm confused. I know that it is our job to clean messes, especially those related to saints and angels and deities, those that are unregulated, unsanctioned. But I was sure that within, of course, the guidelines and the overseeing of the Institute, which I don't know quite a lot about, but I do know that they seem to be regulated. They seem to have sanctions.
Yes. And
that this would be something that you would be proud of, something that would draw you closer to divinity and sorts. Are we not put upon this planet, terra firma, to not only enjoy the fruits that we yield and harvest, but also to give thanks for those? Life is spent so much on your feet and on your back. Why not sanction some time on your knees as well?
Have you interacted with a lot of saints before?
There's just a smile that goes across Pele's face. Here and there. They can be terrifying, horrific, but quite beautiful, especially when given purpose.
Yes. Yes, they can be terrifying when given purpose, but you have to understand different saints have different purposes, and not all those are beneficial to our cause. Keeping people safe.
Pele, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just say, but
I'm going to hand it
Pele's
back to
gonna,
Vial.
Pele's
That's
gonna
what I'm
take,
wondering. That's what I'm wondering. Like, do you keep the vial or not?
No, I'm going to hand it back because I don't have any use for this.
Pele's going to stand and say, I'm confused, Theo. I've seen you do good work. You heal the whole village. This would make you capable of so much more. Is that not what you want to do to help people?
It's not that I'm not capable of healing people. It's just that there's rules and regulations in place to prevent obsession. There's a difference between being faithful and obsession. You do not want me to be obsessed. I can handle anyone else being obsessed. Unless you want, unless you really know the consequences. And Pele, you see Theo like have like this sort of shadow over his face, like he's ready for something to happen.
So you will not ingest this liquid?
No.
And there's that look, you're like that shadow, and there's that look of Pele's where it's like, just focus.
Pele, if you're holding on to the solution or this treatment or whatever it is, you have a new end of session question.
Mm-hmm.
Did you take Dr. Caro's compound?
I think I can answer that real quick.
Oh,
which
no.
is, they'll look at Theo and be like, very well. I would normally take extreme measures to make sure that duty was fulfilled, but I would never force your hand. I respect you too much. And then Pele's just going to pop the top and then down the liquid.
I think Theo relaxes a little bit, but still looks a little bit disappointed.
I love it. Great scene. Let's cut over to and at this point, I think Pele, since to memorialize you taking the stuff, I'm going to give you the condition experimental saint. We'll see where it goes, if anywhere. Fantastic. Yeah, I'm just transferring those questions over to the new questions for the floating market. Jasper, you said you were sort of like looking around. The market's opening up.
Yes. Tyrone is walking around the market.
Tyrone. Sorry. Yes.
He is wearing his he's wearing like an overcoat, but like over his shoulders, like not actually. So it's like, it's like where like the sleeves hang loose. He's just wearing like the overcoat like as like a draped cloak almost, and he has like a wide brimmed cap on. Where he got a pretty decent looking suit, no one needs to know. And he's walking around with an air of intent, of like discerning eye. And when I called Tyrone Beck a businessman of high repute, mafia, he's like literally, this is a guy who's like a mobster, like a gangster kind of vibe. So
let's do the go ahead and roll He of Many Faces.
Yes, absolutely. Should I roll bone dice or horn dice? Someone pick for me. Black or white?
Horn.
Horn?
Oh, we got a bone from Sedna, though.
Bone from Sedna.
Deciding factor, Theo, go.
Theo, bone or horn?
Bone.
Bone it is. All right. Do I have disadvantage on this as a thing?
You get advantage on it, actually. I was thinking about whether any of your conditions might apply. I don't think so, though. I think I'm okay with you rolling normal.
Roll advantage. Nice. Tyrone Beck, a mobster from Glottage who deals in illicit fades. Really compelling backstory. We might get into it, but let's see. All right, rolling. Okay. And then plus presence is 2. That is an 11.
Yeah, just almost got the 12 plus result. On a hit, your deception is convincing enough to avoid unwanted attention. That's good. Where do you go from there? Or what do you do?
I feel like, well, I have this gloam in my pocket, my emotional support gloam, Pickles the Second. I'm sure that there are conversations happening betwixt us, but since we decided the gloams are the real threat here, I guess, I think he is, okay, yeah, he's doing some, what is it called? I literally went to college for this. It's a type of like performance acting, Suzuki techniques. It's all like movement and stillness kind of thing. And there's this thing of like just moving just kind of through the crowds of the market and just having kind of like this like focus, this purpose, just to kind of be in this space. But he's not in full character internally. He's actually talking to the gloam more. He's just kind of giving this outward persona while speaking with his gloam kind of.
The gloam says, why do you feel the need to put on a different face? You can hide from the world, but you can't hide from me or your own emotions.
I would never dream of hiding from you, Pickles the Second. No. I do this for the most important reason there is. The theater is truth, and the watcher sees all truths. And if nothing else, sometimes the truth can be flexible to ensure that the most honest and interesting performance from the extras is given. I'm here simply to shepherd the untalented into the spotlight from time to time.
So it's not about running away from your trauma or issues.
Why don't we change the subject, Pickles?
Very well. I'm here to support you however you need.
Yes. Well, on that subject, as I'm finding myself getting into character, I've never been a mobster before. This is a new one. But I'm curious, Pickles. Tell me about yourself, the Gloams. What is your origin? Where do you come from?
You can make the meddling move with communion.
And I can technically have advantage by using my Gloam to talk to my Gloam.
Oh yeah, you can.
And because I have the condition, I don't mark it.
Yeah, you can just roll flat dice.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, I was about to say because I have 3 conditions. So
Yeah. I mean, I was going to put
Yeah.
you at disadvantage, but I like how
yeah,
you've short circuited the rule here. Yeah.
I've used your weapon against me.
Indeed, you have. Yeah.
Plus communion, 8.
On a 7 to 9, there's a complication either with the clue itself or a complication you encounter while searching. Oh, I've got your complication well
Fantastic.
in hand.
I'm ready.
But we'll come back to this.
Hmm.
Sadness Spindler. Where are you headed now that the market's open? You're muted.
Double muted. I am standing in the crowd, heading my way towards the Jones and Co. location. I spot Jasper Finch doing these weird movements.
No, you don't. You don't spot Jasper Finch. It's time to
Oh, I
run
don't, because I
back.
can't tell.
Yeah.
Yes. So I don't spot Jasper Finch at all. I'm looking for him and I can't find him. So I assume he's just off monologuing to, whoever might listen. But he's certainly not working, I'm sure. And I, readjust my ponytail because my hair is back in a big pink ribbon, and my pink dress or whatever I'm wearing right now is getting smoothed down. And I walk into Jones and Co. to see about maybe getting a look at the real goods.
Yeah. Jones & Co. Theological Containment and Dissolution Services is a large floating geodesic dome with prayer marks of sanctuary and containment on every surface, tethered at a distance to a repurposed Coast Warden rescue boat. So you actually have to kind of like take a little boat out to it to get to
Yeah.
it. It's, for the safety of shoppers and vendors. Let's paint the scene though. Despite its humble appearance, how can we tell that the providers of this service are in fact quite experienced and competent in their work of theological containment and dissolution services?
The items that they have, not only some of them are from very dangerous types of gods and angels and saints, but they're all appropriately safeguarded. They have taken the appropriate and sometimes even over the top precautions to make sure that those items are safe for display, safe for purchase, safe for use. And just a random, I'm going to sell whatever group would not bother to take those sort of precautions.
You know how bonsai trees need to be like trimmed and cut very like precisely to like make sure they grow into that shape? It's like there's like this, keratinous growth coming out of a pile of like what looks like flesh that they've got like sealed in like one of those like domed jars, but like it's been like carefully like sculpted and grown into this almost like modern art thing. Like they've really kind of got a grip on manipulating whatever this divine manifestation is.
Some of the more smaller artifacts that are sort of being held temporarily before getting destroyed have been sort of sealed in jars, and then jars have been placed into this vat of like gel to like sort of absorb like any sort of malformities like heat or spreading of the disease or what have you. Just not anything that's like transferable, like in case like there's electricity, it's not very conducive, and like all those sorts of things.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, how do we know that these people are good at disposing of gods and
Oh.
godlike material?
This is going to be very OSHA compliant. But they store and keep multiple like arm length gloves, gaiters, things of that nature, like hazmat equipment almost. And it's patched up and it's rough, but you can find it all over the place of like waders and boots and gloves and everything.
I love it. Let's take a 5-minute break, but before we go, I want to say that when we get back, Pele, I'm going to ask you how you know you are perhaps violently and unwillingly changing into a saint of Sweet Jolly Crunchtooth as opposed to a mere follower of Sweet Jolly Crunchtooth. And then I'll come back. I'll also give Jasper his clue from Gloam. We'll start the investigation of the God Disposal Service, and Theo will kind of figure out where you're at in Welkin's Vigil. So let's take a 5-minute break.
Incredible.
This is going to be triggering some of my moves to go off. I can tell already.
Look, I was never going to force anything on your character, ever. I had made that decision when Dr. Caro gave it to me that if Theo did not willingly take that vial, and I didn't like lie about it, then down the hatch. I gotta get rid of. I gotta get out from under this man's thumb.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I have both. I have touched by the angels, so I can like figure out like what this is, and potentially even decide to like just take it upon myself, because I'm just like, because I don't like. Theo just doesn't like others to suffer when he can suffer instead. Theo was certain that you were trying to just pass it off and not deal with this problem, and didn't think that you were going to take it yourself.
Down the hatch.
Down the hatch. And this
So
is
to
how
speak.
Theo takes your condition away.
Yeah. Yeah, look. We all do things that we're not proud of.
No.
But all must be done in the pursuit of Sweet Jolly Crunchtooth.
But this also creates an interesting conundrum. Since it did go into you first, what would happen if it does transfer to Theo? Because it's like attached to one god.
Would it
Would it transfer
make a little
to
god cocktail?
Yeah. Oh,
Make a
oh
little,
no.
yeah.
Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah.
This is. Ooh.
I love it. It's so bad. I love it.
You could be very easily be taken out a commission like with this. Oh no. Oh, this is terrible. I hate this and I love it.
We are in a stolen car right now.
Yeah, I'm just figuring out like how I can min-max this scene, because I also have not. I was supposed to trigger my move last time, but I didn't. A life of service. When I enter a new location, I can just get stuff.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Nice.
So we may have assistance in this matter. So.
We can assess. We can make it happen. We can make it work. We have the technology.
We have the technology. Yeah.
When I go hiking with friends, constantly you'll see me and my friend Oz that go hiking together. We will always freak out other people by just saying random nonsensical things like we can start a life here. We have the technology. and like holding up random branches and be like, we can start a life here. Finding berries and then being like, don't eat that berry. And maybe like, we can start a life here.
My God.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Oh man, I've been so stressed about this sort of thing happening.
I got plenty of verses. It'll be fine. What if it just makes me into a more efficient killing machine?
Oh no.
My fingernails start growing and they develop scoops and them turning into natural spoons.
So delicious.
Oh
You can just start
Marshmallow
pouring milk
tea.
out of your orifices.
Oh.
Mm.
Oh
Well,
no.
So I already have.
Three
So I've
conditions.
got a nice little move here. That I could just mark the bleeding revelation whenever I want to because of Woven of Wheat.
Mhm.
And if I do that, I'm able to clear physical conditions by describing how they grow out from my body as fruits of the harvest and how I devour them in unsettling manners.
Oh
You can do
no.
that whenever.
I have to mark the bleeding revelation, but I can mark it whenever I want to. Yeah.
Okay, good to know. I'm gonna change the because I have it right now where the ones that you can't mark yet
Yeah.
are darkened.
Yeah.
I can change the. Not that I really need to worry about it because I think Ben's
Mhm.
working on the actual character keeper now.
Mhm. Oh
You
god.
still did a good one though. This is
Mhm.
great.
Eh,
The adding the narrated tab, game changer.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
needed that. It was
Mhm.
getting too difficult to remember which I've marked and which ones I haven't.
Absolutely.
I think Ben's gonna be doing that with the
Mhm.
with the new
Update
keepers as
between
well.
character
Yeah,
keeper.
yeah, because it's just really useful.
Yeah. And I think in this next upcoming scene, it's going to be how many moves can Theo get off in like a short period of time to just try to control this?
I'm excited.
And
to
we're
see
going into the town to start talking to
Yeah,
engage with like the town essentially.
yeah. I don't. This is a terrible place for you having this happen at.
This is an incredible place for it to happen at.
Mhm.
This is the
Mhm.
best place.
Put
Because we
Fitzwilken in front of me. Put Fitzwilken in front of me.
Oh yeah, that guy sucks. Let's get him. Let's get him.
Yeah.
You have a pretty skull. It would make a perfect bowl.
No.
Have to go find my other
Because
stuff in my purse. Go dry.
So T-Mobile essentially gave me a free tablet.
Oh, that's nice. That was kind
because
of
of T-Mobile rewards and everything like that.
nice.
They're like, hey, you still have a year left before you can upgrade your phone, but we have a bunch of these Samsung Galaxy tablets, Galaxy 7 tablets, that we're trying to offload. So this you would essentially be adding a line, but I get a bill credit for every month. So it's just free. I just have to maintain service, or I have to pay for they're like, you pay for it unless if you close service.
You sign a contract.
Exactly.
And then
Yeah,
they give you the
exactly.
thing. Yeah.
Which I'm like perfect, because the only laptop I have is my work laptop, and I need something to I need like an e-reader.
Oh, yeah.
I need something so that I can do graphic design with a stylus, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So what I need to know from y'all is, what is y'all's favorite e-reader for reading PDFs on tablets, if y'all have any recommendations?
I have a physical like e-reader.
I use PDF Expert.
Okay.
It's really good. But they went to a subscription model recently, which is kind of annoying. It used to be you got the whole thing with a single purchase, but now they've gone to subscription like everybody else. But it is very, very good. So
okay, yeah.
What are we talking about?
I've heard that Goodreader is a pretty good
Goodreader's
subscription
okay.
one. Yeah.
PDF readers for tablets.
PDF readers for tablets. Yeah.
I have a Kobo, like an e-reader.
Yeah.
So I usually just use that because it's easy.
No, I left my water in the other room.
I still use an iPad for game PDFs and game books, but I've switched to a Kindle Paperwhite for just books.
Yeah.
which is
Devin was very, very sweet, and he bought me a Chromebook for doing writing, so it'd be a little bit more mobile. My old laptop is kind of crappy, and my desktop is not mobile. And it's one of those ones that you can flip up so that it's a tablet now.
Yeah.
Very fancy.
Nice.
So I'm listening to this conversation with a note-taking brain. I'm not taking notes, but I'll just remember.
Yeah.
I have downloaded on my phone a couple of days ago. I haven't played around with it yet. Something called Obsidian, which is like a note-taking.
It's okay.
Do you find it okay?
It's
I'm not sure if it's going to be anything better than like Google Drive.
It's useful to people who like to be able to do node mapping with their thoughts.
Oh no.
Because and also it uses Markdown, which I'm fine with, but like, I'm fine with formatting that, but like, I'm not somebody who needs to like mind map things out, but it's really useful for if you want to mind map things.
Yeah, it's particularly good if you like programming and like that sort of thing.
And
I just use Google.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah,
I have to do programming for work, but that's work stuff. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, and also it depends on like your opinion about Google Drive, maybe moving into taking like some of your own personal stuff and using it to train their AI models.
Yeah. Which if they want to take all of my weird notes to myself from Google Drive and try and train AI on it, then good friggin' luck.
Fun, yeah.
Because like just generally like how much tabletop stuff that gets put into Google Drive is
totally
not going to make it particularly useful for certain other aspects.
All right, let's resume. We are resuming. I never stopped recording. It looks great.
Whoops.
We missed the opportunity to be funny about it.
Well, hopefully nobody said anything untoward on the
on no, we were scheming in the background, so people get to hear what we talk about.
Hear the scheming bit. Yeah, very good. Okay, well, we are back now. Let's go ahead and real quick. I'm not going to role play it, Jasper. I'm just going to tell you.
Okay.
Gloam explains to you that the Gloams were originally a creation by the military to help soldiers with PTSD.
Oh.
Here's the complication. After the military abandoned the Gloams, after they let go of the product, it then got commercialized, but then it got pulled from shelves. Turns out there were actually many, many more at the tugboat. Recently, some folks have come and requisitioned them from the vendor. The ones you saw in that bin were just the leftovers.
Requisitioned? Okay, I am going to need to investigate to find out who requisitioned them. That's a complication that's very interesting.
Indeed.
Tyrone Beck is going to dramatically go to the tugboat and ask some questions of the proprietor for who came and took the Gloams.
Very interesting. This is actually really interesting that you're playing like a kind of a criminal element, because we've already established that the vendor is like very, very much not engaged in legit work. So
gonna go back to that vendor. Yeah,
we'll pick up with that in a moment.
Sure.
Sedna Spindler. There are 3 individuals at Jones and Company. There is the aforementioned Jones, who is the overseer of the operation. He's wearing a leather trench coat. He has a shaved head, constellation tattoos, a bandolier of vials containing antidotes and emergency prayer scrolls. He's actually a former custodian. And so my question is, how do you know him? Apart from the fact that maybe you worked a job together, like how come he's not doing that anymore? And what was your relationship with him?
I think he has a reputation amongst the custodians.
And it's a she again. Sorry, I keep saying I keep like misgendering all these characters because they have names that are not typical gender assignment. Sorry. Go ahead. Her.
Yeah, she's got a reputation. For being a custodian and then leaving custodian work, which is almost unheard of. Also, I think when I first joined the Custodians, she was one of the people who did the very, very, very minimal training that we got. So I think she was sort of like my trainer in the 2-hour training session.
She's there. There's also a person who you don't know who is a double amputee rolling across the base of the deck in an office chair, and seems to be inspecting like things that people are bringing by to maybe be disposed of, or who knows what. And there's also a very, very tall individual with knotted forearms slick with oily filth, wearing a full face mask with tinted goggles. Um, and they have a shovel. They look like they're there to shovel things.
I think I
Jones
probably
approaches
will.
you. Her name is Calamity Jones. She says,
Oh,
she says, Sedna Spindler. Interesting. I didn't know the custodians were looking for this kind of solution to stray god problems.
oh well, you know how it is in custodian work. You got to do what you got to do. You got to keep trying to do what you got to keep trying. It's so nice to see you.
Why do you seem so happy?
I don't know. I've just been feeling really good this last day or two. It's just been,
Custodian work treating you well then?
I think so. Well, I mean, today I'm having a really great time of it. I'm so surprised that you left. Custodian work.
Well, you know that it's not the kind of thing that people usually go into willingly, though it
Yeah.
seems like it's treating you well.
Well, I mean, today it is. Who knows what tomorrow will bring?
Right, right. Well, this is what I do now. Jones and Co. Theological Containment and Dissolution Services. We can take anything off your hands for the right price. We're not collectors, of course. If you'd seen half the items we've exercised so far today, you'd understand that our float couldn't maintain structural integrity if we kept everything on board. But I'm most proud of this. And she goes and she pats her hand on a heavy industrial chest with reinforced corners and padlocks on each side of its lid. She says, Pit in a box. We're working on the name.
What's in it?
Ah, great question. Literally nothing. That's the point. It's just a pit in a
What kind
box.
of pit?
Well, okay. Listen, this thing can completely dissolve any matter placed inside using a series of precision-aligned custom prayer marks of the patient void, the equalizer, and the endless dream from which we are born and shall return. But in the box, away it goes forever, permanently.
Forever.
From existence, completely gone.
Like from past existence too, or just present and future?
Interesting. I bet with slight modifications, we could probably work in some prayer marks from nostalgia gods or something and maybe make that happen. Just completely eliminate
Yeah.
all trace of something.
Are you selling this, or is this what you use to,
Well, right now we're just, we do a pretty good business just here. But I do like the idea of licensing the technology.
I mean, the custodians would be interested. We'll want to get rid of everything.
Would the custodians be interested?
Well, you would have to avoid telling them about all the other stuff.
I remember in my time with the custodians, it was all very like hippy dippy, frou frou, like, oh, we have to appease the god. We have to find out how to make it not be so destructive through the community. We have to find appropriate sacrifices so that it can live side by side. No, like.
But isn't it better if we just get rid of it all?
Yes, that's what I've been saying. Just put them in the pit.
I always knew I liked you.
Put them in the pit. Away they go. It's efficient.
Gosh. Now this is really cool. I wish I had something to get rid of.
That feels like a good cut. I like that. That's good. Yeah. I'll give you a roll in a bit. Pele Kessel. Whether it's just you think it's happening because of what Dr. Caro told you, or it's really happening, you feel like you're becoming a saint of Sweet Jolly Crunch Tooth. What does that look like or feel like?
So, I have a move that's called Woven of Wheat. And
Tell
that
us about it.
the initial thing is, so essentially, long ago, my family hallowed me in secret. They embedded the sacred kernels in my flesh that would one day sprout and transform my weak mortal body into something that cannot die. The changes have been subtle, layers of skin hardening like dried husk, muscles and tendons turning to supple green branches, but now I am close to my final form. With that, it just gives me +1 to my vitality, and I had to subtract 1 from my choice, which I did, which was presence. Physical conditions no longer, I never roll with disadvantage for physical conditions. What I can do, though, is if I mark the bleeding revelation whenever I want, once you do, you are able to clear physical conditions by describing how they grow out from your body as fruits of the harvest and how I devour them in an unsettling manner.
This move is a lot. Okay.
So what I am going to do is I am going to mark the bleeding revelation now.
Nice. To clear your conditions.
To clear so that I can clear physical conditions.
Okay, I like that. I think that would clear. I mean, well, it would just probably clear experimental saint.
Yes, yeah. So I think what we see is before we get ready, like Theo sees like ticks and like just like strange shuddering. And then you start seeing like wheat sprouts growing from like up from the neck and everything. And then Pele says, oh, bother, one moment. And takes unzips the tracksuit. And like you just see that tank top, takes the tank top off, and you see that there are like sprouts of wheat that are already growing. And you can see the experimental saint stuff, the sweet jolly crunch tooth. You're starting to see like sugar coating these wheat kernels. And there are like different ducts that humans have where you see milk is starting to flow. And Pele says, pardon me, Theo, one moment. And there's those little scar marks, those cuts that you've seen before on Pele, the audience have seen. And you see Pele sits down, crosses their legs, and just starts like flexing. And out of those cuts, you see these kernels pop out. And then Pele grabs them from the ground, crushes them with their fist a little bit, opens the briefcase, grabs some milk, grabs a spoon, puts it in the bowl, and just sits and eats silently.
Go ahead and clear experimental saint. Also, I think Fitzwelkin is watching you from a distance and no longer wants to fuck with you. You can clear that as well.
Yes.
And Dr. Caro is watching with great approval. You can clear that as well.
Oh my god.
Fuck, Cronenberg would be proud.
Theo is horrified by this experience.
I think you should roll the revelation move, Theo.
Yeah.
What are you afraid is going to happen if you don't keep it together right now?
Theo will go into a bad habit and try to prevent whatever is happening from happening and try to take it onto itself and just potentially taking some aspects of this new sainthood.
It's worse than that. I think you will. Yeah, it's worse than that. I think you will probably. I think there will be some kind of like fusion of your faith, shaky as it may be, in the Poxmartyr and Sweet Jolly Crunch Tooth. I don't know exactly what that looks like, but I'm thinking of like, historically in the real world, historically when, like cereal was essentially invented to prevent little boys from masturbating, right? I mean, that's kind of like the idea. And like, I kind of like the idea of like you taking on a more like healing doesn't mean just like physical ailments. It also has like sort of a
Oh,
it has like sort of like a strange pseudoscience emotional component as well. I don't know exactly what it looks like, but this is what the
Mhm.
fail would be.
okay.
So roll with I think it's got to be communion.
Yeah, it's gotta be
Yeah.
communion.
Yeah.
What else am I rolling?
Regular dice though.
Mm-hmm. Well, that is a 6.
6. Good times. We'll come back to this. Shit is going down in Welkin's Vigil. Let's check in with Jasper and Sedna. Jasper, you have learned something perhaps a little troubling about the Gloams. What do you do?
Well, so the Gloams were on Kaz's tugboat, right?
Yes, that would be.
Yeah, I'm walking up to
I
Rebel
forgot the
Among
name of it.
Ruins.
Rebel Among Ruins. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm walking up to it. Is Kaz there?
He's there. Kaz Happy Feet Jr., a salesman. Jaunty cap with 2 feathers, absurd mustache, garish tropical pattern shirt, maniacally cheerful. He says he sees you though, and because your disguise is so good, he recognizes you as like he thinks something totally different. Like his smile, like kind of goes a little.
Yeah, I like to think that
Yeah.
there was like another customer there as Jasper was walking up. So when that customer like walks away, it's just like Jasper sitting there with like the brim of his like fedora kind of like low over his eyes, and he's got the thing over his shoulders. He's just like, Mr. Happy Feet, and just like raises his hat slightly to look him in the eyes.
He says, "Oh, is is this about?"
Is something the matter, Mr. Happy Feet? You don't look well.
I know.
No need to be nervous, Mr. Happy Feet. I don't take offense if you may have forgotten my name. Tyrone Beck, a mutual acquaintance, met with us a long time ago.
I almost have those disposable prayer marks ready. They're almost.
That's
They're almost.
not why I'm here, Mr. Happy Feet.
Oh, this is about the. Oh, this is about the exploding rosary beads, right? I'm really sorry about that. I
Not
didn't
at
know.
all. That's not why I'm here. Third time's the charm, and you failed to meet the mark on that one, old boy. How about we take a moment to speak on your boat? This is a matter of grave importance, and I would definitely hate to leave your customers with a negative opinion of your business.
I'll let you have this for free. He agrees, and he rolls. He kind of shuts the little window, rolls the window down to show that they're closed. We'll keep the scene going. So you're in the tugboat, and he says, "Well, what is this about then?
You know what the gloams are, do you not, Kaz?
We're almost.
You don't
done
mind
with-
if I call you Kaz, do I?
No, that's fine. We're almost. The gloams are almost all gone. We don't have any more. I mean, I kept some aside.
That's exactly why I'm here.
You're from the Institute.
As I understand it, this collection of gloams was significantly larger in relatively recent past than your current presentation displays.
I didn't think the Institute needed all of the gloams.
Indeed, Mr. Happy Feet. We were not exactly happy to discover that you had held out on us after we requisitioned what was, well, I don't need to repeat myself, do I?
He says, no. They're right over here. You're free.
Why
to
did you
take them."
keep them from us, Mr. Happy Feet?
And he says, "Well, I just thought that, well, if the gloams are good enough to use to ease the growing pains inflicted upon the Institute's experiments. Surely they have some sort of purpose that could be marketed to others.
So you think your capitalistic intentions trump that of the Institute's needs for your supply?
I feel like they are swimming alongside the Institute's needs. Isn't that the purpose of the Institute? To uphold.
Where the Institute swims, you paddle like a drowning pup, Mr. Kaz. Now listen to me and listen closely. I will be taking the remainder of your glomes without argument. Furthermore, he kind of like looks around and like picks up like just like a random like table knife. They just kind of like just like this somewhere. He just goes, "Do you know what happens to a caterpillar that can't escape its cocoon, Mr. Happy Feet?"
No.
They rot from within. Now he puts the knife back down. I don't need to remind you of this, but play along, Mr. Happy Feet. Do you remember what happened the last time my colleagues were here?
Yes.
Go ahead. Relive the memory.
Message received, Mr. Beck.
No. I cannot state this enough. Relive the memory. Walk me through it. I find that you rural folks out in these parts, or those who spend far too much time here, develop this unsavory habit of not allowing themselves to live in the details of memory, for it is remembrance that allows us to better ourselves. Is it not, Mr. Happy Feet? And I want to make sure you truly understand the big picture. So walk me through it. Tell me what happened last time we were here, and then I will trust you at your word that you've got the message.
He explains to you that they came, they took all the gloams. They thought they were getting all the gloams, not just most of the gloams. They made him sign a bunch of documents to the effect of they were essentially like sort of NDAs. He wouldn't talk about it. He wouldn't mention the work of the Institute. And he remembers that they did a little spot trial right there in the tugboat just to make sure that this was going to be the right thing needed. He says, I will never, ever forget the sound of the squealing from that little girl who was being transformed into a saint of the chitterling. It was horrifying. You can't make me talk about it anymore. And yet the gloam did seem to put her at ease.
Your product works, but you can't take credit for that. That's why we need it, Mr. Happy Feet. I'm satisfied. I believe you remember well, and will make significantly better decisions as a business owner going forward. Now, do you have any questions, or shall I get to work?
No. You know, I heard they, as you're leaving, he's like, I heard they actually sold that saint, that would-be saint, to Salt and Smoke down the way. People have probably been eating her recently.
Did they now? Well, I wouldn't know anything about that, but I sure do enjoy a bite to eat on the road between places.
Godflesh, they call it.
Godflesh. Well, the boys in marketing can't come up with everything now, can they?
I thought it was rather catchy.
I assume you would. Well, have a good evening, Mr. Beck. I mean, no, that's me, Mr. Happy Feet.
Very good, very good. Yeah, a lot of information there. Just kind of rounding out the complication. Yeah, the Institute is on top of the gloam situation. So,
and now I have all the rest of the gloam. That's fun for
You do
me.
have a lot of globes. Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going to put them, but
I know where you're going to put them. Yeah. Maybe down the pit. We'll see. Setna, you were chatting with Calamity. I can't remember what we left you though. What were you doing? Oh, I was going to give you a roll. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Basically, I'm trying to ask her I'm trying to get her to say if she knows about anything particularly of interest to custodians in the area.
I like it. Yeah, go ahead and roll. Go ahead and roll the meddling move with definitely with presence, and I'm going to put you at disadvantage because I think she's unnerved by your jolly,
Yeah,
your
that's fair.
jolliness. Yeah,
I think I'm unnerved by it too.
yeah.
Oh, I rolled 3 5s.
Oh, very good.
That was with
Presence.
presence. So yeah, that's 10.
Let me take a look at my clues here.
That might be the best roll I've ever made with disadvantage.
That is a pretty good disadvantage roll. She says, there's definitely been a lot of strange things going on around the market lately. A lot of people, not just custodians, people from the outside coming in, taking things, government people, scaring some of the vendors. There was one group of, I guess they were government scientists. I'm not exactly who they were with, but they were really, really interested in a series of rare prayer marks that Speedy Supplications had access to. Prayer marks that allow something to replicate itself. Bit odd, don't you think?
I mean, I wouldn't really put it past the government, but that is interesting.
I got out of bureau work as soon as I could because there's always something going on. There's always someone working the strings above the puppet. There's always someone with an agenda. I can't be a part of anyone's agenda anymore. I've only got
What's your
one
agenda?
Destroying gods, baby. She chucks something
high-five her.
squailing down into the pit. Yeah. She high fives. That's your clue, though. Your clue is prayer marks that can cause something or someone to duplicate.
Well, Calamity, thank you so much for all of your help, and I'm going to keep your pit in mind because you know me, I love to destroy a thing. So I'll probably come back with some fun things to get rid of at some point. How much do you charge per, destruction?
For you, it's on the house.
Oh, that's just so nice of you. What a nice day I'm having. I had a great lunch. I had, some great people I was talking to.
Wait, you didn't eat the godflesh stew at Salt and Smoke, did you?
Yeah, it was delicious. You really ought to try it.
These things either end up in the pit in the box or they end up in godflesh stew, and I'm telling you, that one should have gone in the pit in the box.
Well, at least it's gone. Silver lining. Well, I gotta go find Jasper Finch.
Indeed.
If you see him, tell him I'm looking for him. He's
Jasper
always wandering
Finch.
off.
Jasper's still with the Bureau too?
I know. Isn't it a surprise he's still alive?
What's that guy's deal?
I don't know.
Why is he even a custodian?
I don't really understand either. Isn't it strange?
It is strange. Strange faith, though. Watcher in the wings.
Well, they're all strange. These illegal ones are even more strange. If he knew anything, if he knew it was good for him, he'd just chuck that watcher right into your pit.
Indeed. And we'll cut away, go back to, this scene what is going on here? Theo, you got to miss.
Yeah.
It means I'm in control of the fiction,
Mhm.
and I am going to. Oh boy. I mean, Pele. This involves your character as well, or Wes. This involves Pele as well, and so I'm thinking that like Theo tries to draw this affliction from you into his body, but because Theo is not, I don't think this is not just like a simple like physical ailment. This is something entirely different, and something it's it's um it's divine intervention but on overdrive, right? It's divine power turned up to 11, and not even, strictly speaking, not even divine, because no god directed this, certainly not Sweet Jolly Crunch Tooth. And yet, and yet, I think you take enough of this in, Theo. You take enough of this in for your body to change. What do we think you look like now? How has this affected you? I'm open to suggestions and thoughts.
Mhm. I think where Pele was more natural growth and whatnot, I think Theo represents the processed side of Sweet Jolly Crunch Tooth. And so he suddenly, like, as he's taking on, like, sort of the pox martyr represents disease, and so that is fever and sweat and sort of the drooping of eyes, but instead of the sweat being moist, it is sticky and smells sweet. His skin starts to flake and crunch and crystallize with sugar, and he is breathing out sort of dust and sort of like crunched up cereal. And it's just an unpleasant experience overall.
I think this is the missed condition. You can decide whether you want to write a verse or not. But I think you are transformed into I want to make sure we get this right. It has to make sense, and it's very, very it's a very bizarre and baroque sort of thing. But what I'm thinking is, I like the idea of you're fixing a plague no longer has to do with people necessarily. It has to do with fields and grain. So you are now here to keep the grain free of disease, free of bugs, free of fungus. And what you give to people is just pablum. It is it's kind words, platitudes, maybe literal cereal, and wholesomeness, and it does nothing.
Oh no! Oh god, I want to write a verse.
And yeah, I mean, like, so I think this is kind of what's happening here. Poxmarter's not pleased with this, of course, but this is what's happening. But I like how you've described the transformation. I think it's really interesting and intriguing.
Mm.
If you write a verse, though, that won't happen. And obviously you can't fix Pele. But I'll give you a condition. Not a condition. Something to add to your altar. Information. You see and learn how to reverse the compound that the Institute has created. Even if you can't do it yet, you know the process.
Hmm.
You know what to do.
So, recipe for Saint Compound?
Just, I don't know, you can bracket it for now, but the idea is you know how to reverse what the Institute is doing to people. Changing them into saints without the intervention of a god.
Yeah, I'll put down reverse the process of artificial sainthood.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, I like that.
Well, I realize I have a note here that says I owe a clue. I don't know from when.
I don't remember either.
Yeah.
But you can, if there's a good
Oh,
chance.
for my journey move. That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
whenever
I'll
you're
think
done.
on that some more.
Yeah, that makes sense. Pele, I don't think you were even aware of what Theo tried to do. You're so like caught up in your whatever the hell's going on here. Once the situation's all settled, what do you do? You're in this like this new form.
Yeah, just seeing like this like like the wheat has like, after like pushing out the kernels, the wheat has woven itself almost like there's like a collar, like almost like an extra collarbone of like wheat stalks. And like you can see that like described, that those tendons, those muscles that are under like this paper thin skin and everything like that. I think just puts on the tank top, zips up the tracksuit, and looks at Pele, offers like a hand, and says, "Ready to head into the town."
I don't understand this.
Sometimes, Theo, we are not meant to understand, but only to experience. What I was made was long ago. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll tell you about it sometime.
I think much longer than what they tried to make me. This is different. This is almost kind.
Then
I
Pele
don't-
says, "A god must feed," puts on sunglasses, and CSI Miami. No.
Oh, no.
I don't say the title. I don't say
I
the
was
title.
playing a public access game yesterday where someone said like it was just a public access station, and then I'm like, roll credits. That's it. Like that's
Yeah. No, but you say it's almost kind, and goes, "At the time, I think it a kindness. Let's go figure out about this iron cormorant."
Indeed. Let's talk about the town a little bit. Welkin's Vigil. The town square is a small mound with a traffic roundabout, quaint cobblestone sidewalks, and a few tourist shops. Orange traffic cones surround a massive stone plinth that lies toppled halfway across the road with no battle saint in sight. Chunks of dirt and pavement are churned and scattered in a path leading away to the hills. The town has some historic features, which I will note your remit requires you to make sure do not get damaged. original cobblestones. There's an ornamental fountain, a small rose garden, ornate lampposts, painted shop facades. Paint the scene. At a glance, the locals appear to be working around this obstacle of the torn up plinth without much difficulty. How can you tell they are actually quite agitated but doing their best to avoid showing it?
Their hands are bloody and raw, and like they pant like hard and like grit their teeth between bits of labor, and they just look at their stinging, shaking hands, but very quickly just like and firmly like wrap like just gauze around them and put the gloves back on very hastily, look left, look right to make sure that like no one's really paying attention to that, but they just kind of like have to like squeeze their eyes shut, a couple of tears like come out, and they just shake it off and go back to working until their wounds break open again.
You see a little child come running up to the group and start grabbing at somebody's clothes. Mommy, you've been doing this for hours. You've been doing this for days. We're hungry. And the parent just pushes the child aside. Mommy's busy. Mommy's busy. We don't have time right now. Go find something else. Go find something to do.
There are amongst the workers on the ground, there are broken tools to suggest that the work has been long and nonstop and the tools have broken and they just have to replace them with whatever they can.
I think I used this one last time, but I still really enjoy it. I think there is like this community board of that has various things like events happening in town and whatnot, but there is a suggestion box of like for improvements around the town, and it's just overflowing with suggestions.
I love a suggestion box no one empties. Oh, good.
I think in general, like Theo goes over towards the suggestion box and just sort of surreptitiously opens it up and starts looking through it. And I think this is going to be my clue. I think there has been complaints of a weird smell around town. No one really can figure out what it is.
Very interesting. I'll give you the lay of the land here, Theo and Pele. So there's a few little businesses. Some more prominent features of the town is a refurbished old guard tower, which is now a small museum at the upstairs part, and a pub called the Third Watch on the ground floor. There's the Chapel of the Fog Mantle, little temple there in town. Founders Row, which is a kind of historic, like a row of historic houses, essentially. Something you can see now as you get to the town, across the way outside of town, but clearly visible, are windmills, as well as the so-called creeping hills, a series of climbing steps which end in a sheer coastal cliff. Pele, what do you do?
Pele's gonna look at Theo and say, would you like to travel together, or do you think that we are best served splitting up?
I definitely want to keep my eye on you, Pele. I'm just concerned, that's all. There's
Well then how about this?
I know I've been here before, so
Oh.
I've actually know the sort of the one of the priests at the local temple. A few years ago, I actually came here myself to treat. And I'm triggering my move, a life of service. Uh, 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 Whenever I visit a location for the first time, I get to say, like, you can find a side character who remembers you from your service. The keeper will tell you who it is, describe how you helped them in the past, then choose one.
Let me grab you a side character. Oh, yeah. Harlan Scythe, a bird watcher.
Mhm.
He wears an expensive looking wool cloak, fine boots and gloves, windswept fiery hair. Um, he's kind of walking slowly um, between Founders Row and various little scenic viewpoints around the town with his antique lord's cane and a leather-bound bird-watching notebook and 2 sets of binoculars.
Mhm.
And I think he sees you. He's holding the binoculars up and he says, Theo Solomon,
Mhm.
how did you help him?
I think sometimes birds can be a bit of a menace, and depending like on how close you get to them,
They're always
they
a
can,
menace.
yeah, they can spread disease, pestilence, and some are large enough to cause even physical injury. And so like it was just a very odd combination of getting attacked by birds and then the wounds getting infected and whatnot. It was just a terrible cause, and because of just generally we're in a historical section of town, and it's just like getting out into like sort of more mainstream areas for healing that's just not realistic. So it would have taken ages for him to heal from it, but I happened to be here and I helped out.
What did you, which one are you going to pick from your move?
I am going to the side character warns you about danger nearby. I just feel like this is just appropriate right now.
Good. Okay, we'll come back to this in a moment. I think we could probably put Jasper and Sedna together at this point, unless you're still in the form of Tyrone Beck.
No, I was gonna say actually. Yeah. Well, no. Tyrone is gone for now because I was gonna say, oh, maybe he shows up, but no, he wouldn't. He wouldn't break character in the middle of speaking. He is. Yeah. I think he walks up during that scene actually that we were having previously, and he just goes, "Calamity, is that you?"
Jasper Finch.
The very same. I thought you were dead.
I don't think about you much at all.
Strange. Times are very weird, are they not?
Oh, certainly, Jasper. I
Most
have a feeling,
definitely.
though, that you find a way to just monologue your way through them as needed.
In a world such as ours, Calamity, where we are faced on a daily basis with the intricate weavings of the gods that surround and suffuse our daily existence, we find. Never mind. Anyway,
Jasper, did you find anything?
oh my, Sedna, there has been a twist in the plot.
Which
No, I would
is?
like to point out, technically only
No.
Jasper knows about the Gloams right now. Still.
Yeah. Yes. Well,
Which?
yeah, he says. And well, actually, let me ask: have we ever talked about the Institute? Because I know Sedna knows about the Institute stuff. Okay. He says,
I don't think we have.
Sedna, and by extension, Calamity, you're welcome to join in as a consultant in your retirement.
Oh, thank you for inviting me into the middle of your conversation here on my property and my business.
Absolutely.
Really love
and
that,
by the way,
Jasper.
Anyway, so Sedna, I found out something, a useful bit of information. By any chance, have you heard of something called the Institute?
Just recently, actually, I heard that they were poking around different places here in the floating market.
Not just any place, Sedna. They were poking around at the domain of the owner of the Revel Among Ruins, and indeed requisitioned a large supply of illicit contraband faith manufactory, and have been using it for their purposes. I, of course, assumed the role of a enforcer of this agency, not even knowing that I was doing so. And I found out what we were here for. I've discovered it. Case cracked wide open.
I am actually impressed. You did something.
Thank you, Sedna. This here is Mr. Pickles II. He takes out the globe and says, I've been keeping him a secret from you for the past few hours, not because I didn't trust you, but because I didn't trust you. So this, he like holds up the globe. Do you only talk to me or can you talk to her as well?
The
I
Glum
do
says
not want to
nothing.
talk to your worm.
He only has words for me. This here is a globe. Do you know what that is? Sedna, have you heard of the globes?
Are they a children's toy?
They are. However, these ones, well, actually, perhaps even all of them, were originally military creations, and they devour feelings. Turns out the Institute has been using them for calming test subjects. And indeed, there's a rumor that one such test subject was sold to that, well, I don't want to scare you, Sedna. I think you ate a small girl.
Was it a girl or was it a saint?
She was on the transition between the two of them, smack in the middle, I assume.
So not really a girl.
But not quite a saint, so still, But anyway, that's neither here nor there. He puts the globe away and he says, now, Pickles II has been very useful in keeping a cool, level head. He is, I'd like to think, my best friend. He's my pal. He's my homeboy, my rotten soldier, my sweet cheese, my good time boy. And I was thinking, well, I got all of them. All the ones that were left behind. And the Institute apparently has a lot more.
I'm gonna look at Calamity.
Calamity opens the pit in the box.
Yeah.
Says, points down.
Yes.
No. Pickles II stays with me.
The rest of them should probably.
The rest
go
of
in the
them.
box.
Yes. Pickles, do you care if I murder all of those other gnomes or just put them in a box? I don't know. But do you die? Oh my gosh. Now it's not the time to have stage fright, Pickles.
Pickles II. Pickles II says, it doesn't matter how many of us you destroy, because we have already started to replicate and duplicate.
Don't wax poetic to me, Pickles II. I know that's the current state of theater and art in the world. You're going back in the pocket. Tuck, tuck, tuck. Look, Sedna, I feel like investigatory next steps would be to go to the Godflesh vendor, and if indeed they were given this transitioning test subject sold by the Institute, they might be a good lead for being able to follow the trail and find this Institute. Because I have reason to believe that these gnomes are the most dangerous thing here at the market.
Which is why you're going to hand them over to Calamity.
All of them, except for Pickles II, yes.
Sure.
Yes.
And she's going to put them in the pit.
Yes, in the pit. Calamity, where did you get this pit?
It's something I fashioned myself.
Well, everyone needs a hobby, I suppose.
That really tall man with the shovel approaches the group and says, have you need of my services? Tunk.
As
He
much
looks
as we all want to bury Mr. Finch, not at this moment, thank you.
Ooh, Sedna! Burying Mr. Finch. You have titled my next great work. Fantastic. Oh, the inspiration strikes when you least expect it. Anyway, I put the trunk of the gnomes out by the van, so I'm thinking we can just... You want to help me lift it? I think I pulled something in my lumbar while getting them there, that far. 2 by 2, we lift together.
Yes, of course.
Sedna, are you unwell? You don't look... You're making an odd expression.
It's called a smile.
Sedna...
Strange, isn't it? Calamity says.
Sedna, do you mind if I give you a little helpful direction?
Well, you're going to give it to me anyway.
Yes.
It doesn't really matter.
A note so to speak.
A note, exactly. Your grin, your smile, what you perceive that to be, is a little more rictus than is comforting. So, that is better. The eyes, though, speak of great pain.
Well, maybe I need one of your gloams to suck
No.
away my feelings.
No.
That's because they're going in the pit.
They are going in the pit, Edna. I've never argued about putting them in the pit.
As I walk out towards where the trunk is, I'm gonna lean in towards Jasper's pocket and say, "You too, Mr. Pickles."
Nice, good. Love that. Let's have one more scene with Pele and or Theo, and then we'll call it a sesh. Pele, where do we find you again?
I'm with Theo. Apparently, Theo is babysitting me now, so
Yeah.
I'm going with Theo wherever Theo may roam.
Oh, you're talking to Harlan Scythe, right?
Yeah, we're
Harlan
talking outside.
side.
Yeah, and he's gonna tell you about some dangers. Okay. He says, yes, Mr. Solomon, so helpful when you last came through here. He looks at you, Pele, and says, our mutual friend here helped me with some rather unfortunate bird incidents. Such lovely creatures are birds, but they can be cruel. Did you know that Old Welkin, that's what we called it back in the day before the rebranding, was the last known location of the iridescent clawed sky dancer, a bird too dazzlingly beautiful to exist in this world. Some said it was a god. All those other birds, drab and dull and jealous of its beauty, they pecked and clawed its feathers out one by one until it couldn't fly. What a terrible and yet somehow illuminating tale.
Are you saying that the birds are dangerous around here?
Oh, no. I am saying, however, that this town is filled with drab and dull people who are more than happy to peck and peck and peck away at anyone who stands out.
That sounds tiring.
It is. I've lived among them for, well, a number of years now, and if it wasn't for the excellent bird watching and the interesting historical details of Welkin's Vigil, I would have left many years ago. The people here are frankly insufferable, especially if you are not with the program.
That tiring, just living, can drain you. I think I have something for you, Theo. And then I'm going to like set the briefcase like flat side down to Theo, and then pop it open, and I'm going to pull out a box of brainy berries and offer them to this bird watcher, this kind.
He says, my goodness, he says, I don't normally take breakfast, especially in the middle of the day like this. Do you happen to have milk?
Always. A carton, set it on top of the box.
He's pouring himself a bowl of cereal.
I now will roll with vitality.
Oh, what happens here?
Well, so one bite is never enough. As an ambassador of all things crunchy delectable, I always have packaged sweets and cereal samples on hand, stashed in my pack or clutched from thin air. So I get to roll with presence or vitality on a hit there, put it at ease by my cheerful demeanor, and every interaction I take with them is taken at advantage. On a 10+, they're charmed by you and will aid me in a single task, no questions asked. And then on a 7 to 9, they will aid you but demand something in return. You will describe what it is.
Go ahead and roll.
Whoop. That is an 8 + 2, which is a 10.
you have all that. He's still kind of warning you about the danger. He says,
Absolutely.
as
Yeah.
he's eating the cereal, he says, "Young Fitzwelkin, at this very moment, he and some of the other militia people are at the third watch. That's the little pub over there at that refurbished guard tower, just down the way. He's currently, at this very moment, at the third watch, talking to people about you."
Oh, pleasant.
Oh, yes. We don't like outsiders in Welkin's Vigil, do we? We don't like
Well,
anyone who tries to be different.
well, we're here just to solve a problem and make sure that your beautiful town is still kept intact. But I'm sure Theo would approve that if that little bird comes to peck a little bit at us, it wouldn't be too forthright to clip a wing or two.
Good. I like that. You can make a note about Harlan Scythe and the advantages you have with him,
Got it.
since he might be a helpful side character here in Welkin's Vigil. And let's go to our end of session.
Very fun.
End of session questions. Let's do it.
Yes.
All right. You have not completed an assignment yet. Let's go to who engaged with a god, angel, or other divine manifestation today?
Did the gloams count?
Oh yeah, the glums count. Yeah.
I think it counts for both Theo and Pele with
Yeah, I think you both did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sedna?
I don't think I did, because I don't think me threatening Mr. Pickles II
No, I don't think it
or
was quite.
the
Yeah.
glow not talking
Yeah.
to me counts.
Yeah, I think not. Theo, did you go out of your way to connect with the local community?
Oh, I did have a little bit of a chatter about the last time I was in here.
Yeah, I don't know. It kind of came to you though. I don't know if you went out of your way. However, were you vulnerable with someone?
I think so.
Yeah, I would say so.
We
Yeah.
had a bit of a fight over saints and
Yeah,
whatnot.
I think that's good.
In the words of Jasper Finch, a bit of a tete-a-tete,
Indeed,
a
indeed,
dialogue.
if you will. Sedna, did you struggle with your personal faith? Yes, you did. Did you undermine the orders of your superiors or use the assignment to pursue personal interests?
I mean, now that I know the pit exists, that's gonna probably happen more.
Oh yeah. I think that's in the spirit of it, because I think the whole point of that conversation was this is like not the
We're not
custodian way of
supposed to do
doing
this.
things. Yeah, this is not the way we're supposed to do it. Yeah. Very good. Jasper, did you go out of your way to connect with the local community? Yes, you did. Did you deliver a monologue about all those various things? Any of them?
Maybe a little bit as Tyrone Beck. I mean, I was monologuing about people's memories. I mean, like about not about the horror society. Yeah, not really. I mean, maybe a little bit. I don't know. I'm kind of like,
I don't think
yeah,
it sang,
not quite,
yeah,
not
yeah.
quite. Yeah.
Pele, were you vulnerable with someone?
Absolutely.
I think you were. Did you undermine
Yeah.
the orders of your superiors to pursue personal interests?
I think I used the assignment to pursue my personal interests. With the vial and everything. I think
I would
borrowed
yeah, the
him.
vial was interesting. I think so, because I mean you obviously did it for some reason that has nothing to do with bureau work, right?
Yeah.
So I think it counts.
A way to connect with Theo a bit more, but also kind of establish
Yeah.
a little bit of a baseline for what Pele thinks is good and right.
Do we have any moves or verses to resolve right now?
Yes, we do have a verse to resolve for me.
All right, whoever wants to go for it.
You want to take it away first?
Sure, I'll go first. I mark a verse of prophecy because I figured that this is a very poignant moment about becoming more faithful to my God again. I narrate a flashback to a time when you wished to bear someone's suffering for them. I think we see a scene on sort of a dusty road. Theo is carrying a boy that's only a few years younger than he is, and he's about 12 or so. And the boy is sort of crying on his back because he twisted his ankle and they need to go back home and get that bandaged up. And Theo wishes he could do more because the crying just bothers him. He wishes that he could take it on to himself instead. If there was only a way to do that.
Mine is narrate a flashback to when your elders marked and prepared you as a secret vessel of the harvest. Unlock the additional end of session question. Did you make a sacrifice to feed the crops? As this bird watcher, I forgot the name, forgive me, and Theo are kind of talking and commiserating, I think there's a look towards that chapel. Harlan Scythe, correct. Looks, yeah. So as they're talking, there's
An appropriate name, I feel like.
Very
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
There's a look towards that chapel that's off in the distance. And like as the scene set out, that little bit of like golden hour that's happening, things of that nature. The camera pans down as we see that like it's this quick little fade that seems a similar looking chapel in this town that we've seen in Pele's flashbacks before. And you see that there is a group of people that are moving cloaked. They go to this chapel, but they don't go to the front doors. They go to the side cellar doors and open them in secret. There's somebody waiting for them wearing overalls and a button-down shirt that looks at them. They make a sign towards each other, nods, and allows them in. As they make their way downstairs, you see that it is 4 women as they remove these cloaks. They are wearing garments, dresses of woven wheat together that have been painstakingly woven. They each have their own personal flair to each. As they step into a room in this cellar that has seeds, kernels in a circle, and there's a pallet in the middle where we see a young Pele Kessel laying, looking around. Pele's mother and father are helping prepare this old man that has the like these knee braces that help him walk, but they're assisting him as he's preparing certain devices. Unrolls a leather bag, a leather roll that has tools in it, and you can see a scythe, and there is a shucking knife for corn as well that helps you open the corn and quickly and everything. And they have carvings into them. Pele starts crying, and the father looks over at Pele and says, "Not now, boy. Now's not the time." These women then begin surrounding Pele and taking this wheat paste and starts making paintings where those incisions will be made. Little diagrams, essentially, for this old man to follow. And this old man makes his way towards Pele and just makes a motion to lift as these women then grab the pallet and this small young boy is lifted and he starts making incisions. And you can hear crying. And as each incision is made, a woman will touch Pele's face and stuff the incision in with these kernels that are in the circle. Eventually, Pele is just a bloody mess. The old man looks at his work, nods, and Pele's mother and the women begin sewing the incisions shut, to which Pele's mother and father will pray over him for the entire night.
Fantastic. Thank you both. Let's go to Stars and Wishes. Whoever wants to go first, please take it away.
Holy crap. What amount of trouble Pele and Theo got up to this session? It was just with each other, really. I honestly was about to just let the miss ride until you said, "Oh yeah, you can't help people anymore, Theo." That's what killed me. No, Theo could never. Oh, like Theo is fine being turned into corn, but that is a bit much.
This is a really interesting session because it felt very like kind of weirdly transitional in a way, you know, in some ways, and I like how much this game supports like there's so many like buttons to press on the character sheet and in the game generally that you don't always have to be doing the investigation super hard, right? You can kind of like back off a little bit and be doing these like weird inner character moments or intra character moments between the custodians, and I think that's really, really great. But it all kind of holds up. And yet when the investigation's happening, I don't know, it kind of, I just, in this session in particular, I feel like a lot of these sort of exterior problems beyond the assignments started to like work their way into the assignments in a way that I thought was really interesting. And I think that makes the story feel so coherent and cool. And more and more as this series goes on, it really, really feels like we are telling a story parallel to Faulkner and Carpenter and all the rest. Like it really kind of feels like this is so plainly happening in this world of the Siltverses, but like somewhere else, another part of the world. And I kind of just really love the feeling of that. And so I'm really happy with that. I'm really happy with all the different story beats that are directly influenced by the game's rules and procedures and things. And so really, really happy with that. Specific stars, I quite enjoyed. Yeah, all the stuff with Pele and Theo was really weird and good today. Love that interaction between Jones and Sedna. I thought that was a lot of fun. It was kind of fun to see like other like former custodians. It's kind of a fun thing to explore, and the work that they do now, which is kind of interesting. And also it was kind of fun. I like this sort of like ongoing thing about like Sedna's personality change because of Sweet Jolly Crunch Tooth, which I find really fascinating. And yeah, and I really loved the whole Tyrone Beck thing and Kaz Happy Feet. That was a lot of fun. And that was one of those instances where like my keeper instincts, my GM instincts like told me not to involve die rolls, you know. It was like because we could have very well like kind of wrapped that up into a veiled move, but I think the way we did it was the right way. Sometimes you just let things go and ride, and you just role play. Yeah, you just role play it out. It was good seeing it. Worked great. You know, wishes, I'm really happy to, or I'm really excited to see where it's going to go, because like now you all as characters, your players all have had this, but as players you've had this, but the characters are starting to get a dawning awareness and realization of the bigger conspiracy. And I think it's happening at the right moment, because you're getting ready to confront the Institute probably. Well, it'll still be a few sessions because of the need to finish any active assignments even after you get to 8 conspiracy clues. But I think this is like the right time for like the characters to start having these interesting and dawning realizations about it. So yeah, I'm really just very excited about the prospect of all that.
For sure. Gotta want to echo some stars again. Is was going to star you, Jason, the keeper decision, because I do this all the time as well when I'm running games of just you knew how the scene felt, you knew kind of, and you were also like leaning into like this kind of like intimidation tactic thing that I was going for, and it just role play. It was a very good like yes and improv moment of just we don't need, because I mean, you know, I subscribe to the general belief in games that dice should only be rolled when it would be interesting for
Yeah,
the
sometimes you
narrative
don't need them. You know,
sometimes you
Yeah.
just know where the scene's
Mhm.
going to go, and you just let it happen. So that was a lot of fun. And star specifically to the scene with between Calamity and Sedna, when it was like Jasper's still worried, like why is he even here? That was really funny, and I really enjoyed Calamity as a character, especially because like I walked into the scene and discovered apparently these two have beef, and are just gonna be bitching back and forth at one another. That was a lot of fun. This is the second time I get to use He of Many Faces in the campaign. I know you said it's overpowered and probably going to be changed, but that's fine. I was thinking in the chat is like, if I had rolled 12 plus on Tyrone, and I could, because if I use him again in a different scene, I still have to roll when I'm acting under a false persona. If I get 12, he's a real person, and I'm scared of Tyrone Beck coming after us, and he would just exist then. That scene between Theo and Pele with offering the vial was really good. Like chaotic, I really enjoyed like Theo's perspective, kind of explaining of just, I don't know, Silt versus Universe is so cool in the way you play Theo as a pox monk, in like his general kind of like morality is the wrong word, but like code of like his code that he operates by. Really, really great. Yeah, Wes, the the fucking growths, sick. Love that. Amazing. I'm so happy for this. Oh, and also Star to just being like, he has a shovel and looks like he's ready to shovel things. So fucking funny. And yeah, man, always a pleasure to role play Jasper and Sedna in a scene together, because it's just role play with you in general. I just love role playing.
Yeah, Jasper
wishes,
Sedna scenes are always really good.
they're
Really
always
funny.
so much
Yeah.
fun. We'll just it's always because Alex and Amanda scenes are always good. Wishes, man. I'm ready to face down I know that we're the conspiracy is almost like we're about to resolve this conspiracy, as we've said before. Like we have a couple more clues to go of like before like it kicks off. One, I can't wait to see how Jason's gonna pull the rug out from under us and be like, well, this thing is now mine. And I think that's about to happen. I feel like I feel like I saw this one coming after what happened this session. But like it also like just narratively is super cool that it's like I did this Tyrone Beck thing, and now we have like this whole institute thing, and we're so close to the institute coming to be that it's like, oh, this feels very, it's so smooth. So I'm very excited to resolve this whole like this arc, I guess, this season of the Silt verses. And what else? I have more wishes, but now I'm blanking on them. Man, no, I don't know. I think my biggest wish is I want to see more. I want to do more moves as Jasper. But I love role playing as Jasper. But like, I want to get dangerous more, and also journey scenes because I'm stacked for conditions. So that's my wishes.
My stars are very similar. Everything with Theo and Pele was just tense and very the characters made so much sense, and the way the decisions they made, the way they were acting, it all made perfect sense. And it was still like, what's going to happen? So I'm really happy that everything kind of played out the way that it did, because it gave a lot of really cool Theo moments about how Theo views the world, which is so different than the other characters, and also a whole lot of really gross Pele things, which I love gross Pele things, so that was awesome. I I love Tyrone. Tyrone's great. What a great character. Suddenly we're in a mafia movie and I'm here for that. It was so much fun just to watch that interaction happening. Yeah, I think it'd be cool if Tyrone became a real person, because maybe then we could have mafia ties. That'd be fun. Uh I gosh, there was a lot of really good moments now that I'm thinking back on this session. I really liked the flesh terrarium. mention that Jason did.
Classic between Shadow Society.
Yeah.
Was that Shadow Society? Or is that
It's from something earlier,
Sons
and
of
then it
Another
got
No, Sons of Another
put
World. That's what it was.
into yeah.
Yep. I remember that.
So some classic the between Jason Cordova bullshit happening, which is very great. Lots of fun there. For Wishes, I like Alex. I'm excited to see action kind of pick up a bit. It's been, I mean, we've had actiony moments, of course, but I feel like things are kind of, with the Institute stuff happening pretty soon, things are going to kind of start coming to a head, and I'm excited for that. I'm excited that we have access to the pit, which I am absolutely going to abuse, and I'm so excited for that. I love the character Calamity. I loved how that whole scene we role played that. It was a lot of fun having those interactions. I like the idea of a custodian that isn't doing that work anymore. How did they get out? How'd they stop working? Like I want to know. So this whole thing was just really, this was a really good session for answering some little questions and opening up bigger questions for the next little bit. And I'm really excited to see what happens.
Yeah, my stars are chaotic for that Theo Pele scene. You're a great role play partner. It was very tense. I felt the tension. Calculating everything. I had a kind of like a plan going out of like what would happen if this happened and everything like that. And it worked so well, just like within the narrative and where like the characters are going. Alex, Tyrone Beck, if anybody's familiar with the show Banshee, it gave me feelings of the big bad of the show Banshee is this guy called Kai Proctor, who is this like Amish businessman who is just like very threatening, and I got like very like shades of that, especially with the slight Maine accent that you put on it. Like I think if you would have said "aya" like at any point during that, it would have been the most threatening "aya" I have ever heard in my life. I am terrified if that man ever becomes real. If you roll a 12, and then Jolly Sedna continues to be a delight, and just such a I love how you're portraying Jolly Sedna, and it's going to be such a whiplash effect when you go back to normal Sedna after that, when you use that Jolly, and I can't wait to see what comes of that. Also, star to Jason for Pit in a Box. I wonder what Shark Tank looks like in the Silt verses.
Star to Gabriel. That's written in the assignment.
Well, Star to
yeah.
Gabriel, yeah. Star to Gabriel. Starting for you. Star for, like the narrative design of this like campaign is playing out perfectly. It's moving at a good pace, and it's building, and I can't wait to see how it culminates in this first arc. Wishes. One wish, I want a Sedna Pele scene. We're getting a lot of pair-offs, and I don't want to see what Sedna Pele looks like on like investigation on assignment. So maybe we'll see that with our new assignment of like these two weirdos working together on an investigation or any other assignments. That's just what I'm hoping for. But yeah, no, fantastic stuff. I'm having Sundays continue to be one of my favorite like times with y'all. It's great. I want to keep playing more and more games with y'all.
I definitely find it very fascinating to see the foils between characters. Particularly, it's very clear about the foils between Theo and Pele, but the foils between Jasper and Sedna are just very fascinating because you have this very theatrical, performative for others sort of character versus this very, very pragmatic and very heartfelt character of who always deals with situations as sort of like what they are on the surface, and just like, you know what, I'm going to have some godflesh stew. It's not the best idea, but it should be good to connect with people. Whereas Jasper typically only connects with people through disguises or sort of performances and that sort of thing. So I just find it very interesting.
Oh yeah, the chat has just reminded me of one of my stars. A star like about the determining whether Sedna ate a person or not. It's really...
I hold that she did not. In Sedna's mind, once a person is even a little bit sainted, they are not a person anymore. Therefore, they are okay to eat.
They're
Yeah, also
okay
just
to
a
eat.
star to just the little finish sentence bit of not really a girl, or saying not really a saint, but not quite a girl.
Yeah.
Or no, the inverse was not
Yeah.
really a girl, but not quite a saint.
It was good.
Also, Pele eating himself. That's, oh god.
Oh, that auto cannibalism was just.
Yeah, it was a lot. Yeah, it was good.
what?
It was good. It was good.
There's
Any
gonna
other-
be more where that comes from, baby.
Oh no.
There's
really
also
broaching a lot of weird cannibalism stuff in this.
I took a new playbook move, which is called brand new Saint flavor, which means I just have a private facility that I can access now where they're making brand new Sweet Jolly Crunch Tooth flavors, and Pele Kessel gets to test them, and so I get to collect Godflesh fragments when we complete an assignment or roll a hit on a revelation move,
Oh,
and
no.
then I get to take that Godflesh fragment, turn it to cereal.
Make a cereal.
Yep.
It's
And I
good.
get to eat it and see what happens.
I love it. I love it. Any other stars or wishes? Very
Man,
well then.
I keep on thinking that Theo is going to be like the grossest person, but no, I keep getting proven wrong. No, it's Pele. Pele is just so.
They're definitely
gonna
racing. That's for sure.
Top each other. We're
Yeah.
gonna top each other every time just to see who can do it. Where's the line at?
Dr. Ishikaro is eating a candy bar, a heavenly Honeycrisp, a product of the hexagon heart, a beehive god. Eats the heavenly Honeycrisp and crunches up the plastic and throws it away. He gets up. He's got an attaché case. He's walking down some clinical halls lit by sodium lights, people walking back and forth wearing lab coats. He goes into one particular room in this facility where there is a saint that they've been making. A saint that is a child. The gender of the child can't even be determined anymore, because their body is grossly distended. Their rib cage splayed and wide, and tendrils of flesh making natural hexagon shapes pulled over the rib cage. Bees crawling in and out of the body. Dr. Caro, this is incredible work we're doing here. The hexagon heart hasn't created a saint in years. It's completely slowed down production of heavenly Honeycrisp bars, for example. And, well, I think once the military applications are complete and satisfied, we will be able to sell this new technology to all throughout industry. I mean, imagine not having to require the whims or vicissitudes of a god to create useful saints like this. The problem, of course, is the angels are incredibly agitated, because the saint is incredibly agitated. And indeed, this saint, which still has a couple of withery little arms and a head atop the hive body, is crying and screaming. We can't keep it calm. It's a problem. Dr. Caro says, Every problem has a solution, Dr. Kearns. He opens up the case and pulls out a gloam. Hands the gloam to the saint. The saint, its eyes are wide, its lip trembling, bees crawling in and out of the mouths and up the nose. Takes the gloam into its withery hands and begins to gently stroke it. There, see? All better. Goodbye, everyone.